Hey everyone, so here's my first YouTube video. So this is how a first YouTube video looks like. I chose this beautiful place so you can see on the horizon here, the trees and the landscape. So today I'm going to talk about something that's completely unrelated to this landscape. That's our workload. I mean, a lot of us work from home. So one thing that I was thinking the other day is how much meetings do we have? I mean, I was working the other day and I was stuffed with meetings. I had like, I don't know, 5 to 6 hours of meeting the same day. And I mean, they're not in the same block, so they're throughout the day. So we have like this little spaces between them. But what happens is that you spend all day either in meetings or answering messages. I think that this is completely crazy. And I work as a Scrum Master in a company. So one thing that we as Scrum Masters, we learn how to do is to calculate the capacity of a team. For example, let me get this straight to you. So when we have a team that's working together, we calculate how much time do they have to actually work on it. And when you're doing stuff like that, you may think of, okay, maybe somebody gets ill, or maybe somebody gets a sickness, and maybe someone has some personal stuff to be doing in their lives and something outside of work. So you cannot plan for 100% capacity. For example, if one have 8 hours to be working in their day, I would not be committing them for 8 hours full of work. So anyway, that's for Scrum. But we do this for software development teams, but we don't usually do this for ourselves. And I think that's a mistake because obviously we need to do as an exercise. I mean, we have to stop what we're doing and think, okay, I have 8 hours in my day. How much can I get accomplished in that? So we actually need to work on some effort to try to do that to ourselves. So that leads me to the first topic that I would like to talk with you about, is that the trap of no measurement. So if we're not measuring, if we're not thinking about what we're doing, maybe we're going to say yes to everything. For example, in my personal case, I work as a team leader, as a Scrum Master for 4 different teams and across 2 different products. So imagine that you're working on as a team leader for, I don't know, the Uber app and maybe the Amazon website. So 2 completely different things. It's not that completely different things in my case, but it's different. So what happens is that you tend to try to do everything at once. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So for example, if you're overloaded with work, it's not healthy for you to start just doing whatever you should do. You need to take a step back and think, okay, I'm overloaded. I have these things that I need to do. So what can I actually do and what I cannot do? Because, I mean, if you say yes to everything, you're going to under-deliver. And this is crazy because we tend to think that, no, I need to work straight from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and go straight and just stop for, I don't know, lunch and maybe some bio break. But that doesn't work. You're going to under-deliver. Even if you're able to somehow be sane in that situation and you're able to deliver for a short period of time, this is not sustainable. I mean, you're not expected to do this for, I don't know, months across a year. So that leads me to chapter 2. So why remote work makes it worse. So what happens is that when you're going to an office, to an actual office, you go there like 8 a.m. and you sit in your desk and you open up your computer and you log on your computer, and then maybe you get a cup of water and you talk with some colleague and you talk about how was your day yesterday, and you talk about maybe the things that you're going to do and to achieve in your day, and then you start working, maybe you start focusing, and you make pauses in a more natural way because you don't feel you are already in the work environment. But when you're doing that in your home, it's kind of hard to disconnect. So if you're working on the desk and right next to your desk you have like your refrigerator and your house, it's kind of weird to separate in your mind those things. I mean, your work and your personal life. So it kind of gets blended together, and it's not healthy. So we tend to work like straight hours because we tend to overcompensate that because it's natural in the office to have pauses. But if you don't think about that, it's not natural, but it would sound like it's natural for you to don't have pauses when you're working from home. All right, so here's where it gets interesting. I picked some data here and some benchmarks. For example, an average professional, they spend like around 2 and 15 minutes during their day in meetings, which looks healthy. But I mean, we know there are a lot of people doesn't spend that only time in meetings. For example, me myself, I spend like 3 to 4 hours in a day that's kind of a relaxed day. But if I have like a full day, I can spend around 6 hours in meetings. This is insane. And one interesting data is that we take around 23 minutes to refocus. So let's say they have like a 30-minute meeting, and then you have like a 30-minute break, and then another 30-minute meeting. So you would think to yourself, okay, I have 30 minutes to focus. But no, we usually spend around 23 minutes to refocus. So you can start to think of something else, but you would probably be answering some messages, and your mind will start like this shifting and to another task, but you actually have 7 minutes to refocus. But if you have a meeting that's happening in the next 7 minutes, you would probably be thinking about that meeting. So you don't have like this 7 minutes. So let's say that you have this situation that I just mentioned, 30-minute meeting, 30-minute break, and another 30-minute meeting. You would probably won't have this 30-minute break. Just relax. I mean, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything in those 30 minutes. I mean, you probably should. Not saying that you should, do nothing in that time. But what I'm saying is that it's not healthy. All right, so before we jump into the next section that I'm going to tell you how to control your own schedule, or how to try to control it at least, make sure you subscribe to this channel and tell me how many hours of meetings do you have per day. I want to know. Drop in the comment section. Let's talk about that. All right, so how to take control. I mean, that's the most important thing, right? So first thing, you have to track your own capacity. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, how much time you're spending on meetings, how much time you're spending focused on whatever task you have, you cannot change it. So first of all, you need to track it. So please make sure you put like your meetings, your focus time, and any interruptions that you may have throughout your day. How many times do you usually spend like answering messages? And I don't know the nature of your work. I know the nature of mine, but anyway. So second thing, subtract overheads before committing. So this is important. I mean, you're going to have some downtime. Maybe you're going to get sick. I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to get sick every day, but if you have like a timeline, you should consider that. And you should consider that maybe some people are going to send you messages, and you need to take that into consideration for you to set up your own schedule. All right, so here's one of my favorite topics. You need to challenge every meeting. Is it necessary? What is the goal of that meeting? Can I make this async? I don't know. So I think this is important because not only this is going to be healthy for your own schedule, but I think that it's good for your career to think of, okay, what am I going to do in that meeting? Is my presence really necessary? I mean, maybe your boss is asking you for join that meeting, but maybe it would be good for your career to talk with your boss and say, maybe I'm not necessary for this specific meeting, and because this, and that, and I think it would be good. Not everyone have like good bosses, so maybe your manager is not the best person to deal with, but maybe your manager is. What I'm saying is that it shows maturity if you talk to your manager and address those issues. I mean, I've never heard of someone say, I love meetings. I wish I could have meetings all day. So if you're saying that your team should have less meetings, so this is probably going to be well perceived. All right, and one last thing that I think is really important is that when you start saying no, you can actually make room for you to say yes to the right things and to the things that actually matters. So let me know what you think about this video. Was this helpful? Let me know. So yeah, that's it. See you in the next one.